Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first of all, I would like to extend my condolences to the relatives of the people from the diaspora who perished because of COVID-19. I personally know two of the people, and it's very sad when, although death is sometimes sudden, when people you know die under these circumstances. And I'm pleased for now that no one in St. Lucia has died, and I pray that that situation continues. I also want, Mr. Speaker, to express my thanks and my appreciation to what the people who they say are on the front line, the nurses, the doctors, the fire people, the ambulance workers, the police, the people who work in the hospitals, the maids, etc., and the people who in the Ministry of Health, all the people who are in the front line trying to protect us from this pandemic. I'm sure my colleagues will join me in expressing our gratitude and our thanks to them. Mr. Speaker, when the Honorable Prime Minister introduced the Emergency Powers Act for the first time, our position on this side of the House was you allow the government the latitude and the space, if I can quote the member for Castro South, and the space to do what they wanted to ensure that all the actions needed to combat that pandemic were taken. And as I said, some people thought that the government was being given too many powers. But we said, no, you must have some level of trust, especially in these times. So, Mr. Speaker, we did not raise any serious objections to the emergency powers. In fact, there was discussion between the Attorney General and myself where we made some amendments which the government did accept. But, Mr. Speaker, the idea of the emergency powers is not, I don't want us to take it lightly, because it doesn't only deal with curfews. It also deals, Mr. Speaker, with powers of procurement. It also deals with powers of freedom of assembly and freedom of assembly, and even freedom of movement, Mr. Speaker. So it's a very serious powers that the authority has. So I do not want us to believe that these powers are only extended to COVID or the corona disease. It has tremendous powers. Like powers, you can't hold a public meeting. Powers, you can't meet in a hall except if there is social distancing. So what it means, Mr. Speaker, is that the people of St. Lucia, because, and I don't want to be misquoted, all I'm saying is that these emergency powers do not only deal with curfews and power to the Minister of Commerce to close and open businesses. It deals with procurement, it deals with freedom of association, it gives tremendous power to the government or the minister in charge. So much so, Mr. Speaker, there are people right now as we speak who in the United States are demonstrating against these measures. They want to open up the country. But so what I'm saying is that the emergency powers are stronger and they are more far-reaching than it may seem. Not only a matter of curfew, etc., Mr. Speaker. In fact, this morning I was reading something from on Facebook from Occupy Democrats. And they quoted, Mr. Speaker, dictators everywhere are using the pandemic to solidify control of societies. So these emergency powers, Mr. Speaker, people are concerned about them. So whereas we on this side of the House understand why and hope it's only been used for the pandemic, I want to tell you that they are necessary, but they're not as simple as they may sound on paper, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's very difficult for some people to maintain this stay at home. Very difficult. And as I was saying, if you live in an environment where you have your lawn, your office, your certain kind of thing, you can stay there for 24 hours. But Mr. Speaker, the conditions in which some people in this country sadly live, Mr. Speaker, it is very difficult. So I want to tell them they must not look at it as a punishment. They must look at it as a necessity. And I think it's very important that we drive home that this is a necessity, Mr. Speaker, the stay at home for their health and for the health of their family and for the health of the society. So we are coming back for another month. The Prime Minister said that it seems that things are getting under control. He said it seems. I really hope, for our sake, that that is true. Because we do not want not to be able to hold a public meeting. We don't want not to be able to hold our number gatherings. We don't want it. And this emergency powers says we can't. And we listen. So I really hope that we can very soon, once the science, I want to emphasize, once the science says it is okay that these powers can be relaxed. It said until the end of May. As we took the position before, we are going to, well, not allow, because we're not in this society we live in, we're not in a position to stop anything. But we will go ahead with that notion for the month of May. But I just want to tell St. Lucians, the powers are much greater than curfews and opening businesses. It's much greater. It's tremendous power in the hands of people. Tremendous power. So, Mr. Speaker, I want once more to tell the people of St. Lucia to listen to the health authorities, practice physical distancing, and try to stay at home as much as possible. Because this pandemic will affect all of us. It is affecting all of us, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, that is my contribution, to tell people to listen and follow the protocols, but also to say that it's not an easy thing what's happening now. It's not as easy as just a curfew. It's very difficult to speak. A lot of people's rights are being trampled on, all for the sake, and probably necessary. Not say it's not necessary, but the fact is we are in a situation where our rights are being trampled on because of a situation that we cannot change. But it exists, and let us try to listen to it. Let's try to obey. Until the people of St. Lucia, obey the hours of the curfew. Do not get involved in any activity that would endanger your health or the health of your family or your friends. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.